Yes, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to URKG. We have an absolute massive Real Madrid transfer show today for you because this Rodri situation might have just completely changed in the space of just 24 hours. I mean, yesterday, Florentino Pérez was reportedly not convinced about signing Rodri, but today, we're being told that people inside Real Madrid have managed to convince him, and José Mourinho wants to sign Rodri, and the club allegedly started direct conversations with Rodri's representative. I mean, this is big, this is huge, but that's not the only major news or major story we're going to cover in this show today. Manchester United have also turned their attention on Tchouaméni. Mourinho reportedly told Raúl Asencio that he is not part of his plan, and also Fulham are negotiated with Real Madrid for both Gonzalo García and Franco Mastantuono. So these stories could all be connected, you know. Rodri arriving could definitely affect how it's going to go with Tchouaméni. And, you know, the crowded squad that we have, it could force the likes of Mastantuono or Gonzalo Garcia to be shipped out, basically, to be shipped out. So, look, Mourinho, he's already beginning to take ruthless decisions, people. We got to get into the stories. As always, you already know. Smash that like, subscribe to the channel if you're new to the channel. Comment your own thoughts in the comment sections. What do you think about Rodri? Should we go and sign him? Yes or no? Let me know in the chat. But big up to every single one of you. K9, the honored one, Endrick, Moody, JB, Cristiano, Sammy, every single one of you. Every single one of you. Let's go. John as well. Big up to all of you. But this is the first news. This is how we're going to begin. Of course, Alberto Pereiro reports that José Mourinho wants to sign Rodri for Real Madrid, as you can see it on your screen right here. And it doesn't stop there. Le Journal de Real then reports that certain people inside the club managed to convince Florentino Pérez today, and that Madrid have started direct discussions with Rodri's agent. Look, we're not making this up, chat. We're not making this up. This is just coming in. This is coming in today. And that would represent, and it would definitely represent an unbelievable turnaround, because the biggest obstacle in this operation was, obviously, it's not José Mourinho. Obviously, it's not Rodri. Obviously, it's not Manchester City. The biggest obstacle was Florentino Pérez approval. Does he want to sign him? Does he not want to sign him? That is the biggest question. That was the biggest question. And now we're getting some answers. We're definitely getting some answers. And I'm looking at this. My reaction is very simple. I mean, if Rodri is genuinely available and genuinely wants to join Real Madrid, the club has to explore this. We did a video yesterday, right? You don't get many opportunities to sign a player of Rodri's quality. I mean, experience, personality. This is someone who has just captained Spain to the World Cup final and won the World Cup final and won the Golden Boot as the best player of the tournament. You might disagree with that. Messi's crying, by the way, because of that, but that's not the point. That is not the point. But this guy is a key figure. And Madrid have, you know, we've got some talented midfielders, right? But Rodri gives you something different. I feel like he gives us something different. If we go and sign him, it gives us something different. He controls the rhythm. He protects the defense. He provides leadership. He understands when to accelerate in the game, when to stop, when to slow down. He has it all. And this is not simply another midfielder, chat. And this is potentially the player who can become the brain of Mourinho's team. That's how I see it. And you may ask yourself, right, why Mourinho want to sign him? You can ask that answer. I mean, you can answer that question in the comment section. But Mourinho wants experience. We all know that. And tactical discipline in the middle. Rodri could organize the team. You know, when Madrid are under pressure, he could provide physicality without really, you know, sacrificing technical quality. He can help Madrid control in big moments, big games, Champions League knockout phase. He is going to be massive if we do sign him. That's the way I see it. He adds another vocal leader into that dressing room as well. Let's not forget, he already understands Spanish football. We've seen it in the World Cup. If you don't know, look, you saw what happened in the World Cup. And to adapt to the league, to adapt to Real Madrid, it's not going to take him that much effort. He already knows how to link up. He already knows how to play Spanish football. And Mourinho does not only want talented footballers. We know historically Mourinho is not about just talent. It's not just about pure talent. Mourinho, we know, he wants a player that he trusts, that has experience in big tournaments and big moments. So when you are, protecting, for example, like a 1-goal lead advantage or away from home in the Champions League, Rodri is exactly the type of player Mourinho would definitely want standing in front of that defense. For sure, 100%. Before I get into the Florentino Pérez issue, I want to just read out some of the comments here. Modric owns Portugal's midfield. Rodri could control midfield, says K9. Lloyd says, I will be behind Spain all time now, says Lloyd. There's no way you trust that source, says TSRF. There's a lot of sources talking about Rodri. It's not just one source, but we need to bring it in and talk about it, right? Jeremy says his size is very intimidating. He's bigger than everybody on the pitch. Kay says Madrid to win the Champions League. Don't forget the Vinicius Jr. Yes, it's a good point that Vinicius Jr. and Rodri, they got a problem, but it happens. I've seen it with Marcelo and Cristiano. Marcelo and Cristiano had problems before, and all of a sudden they were best mates, bro. Best mates after Cristiano joined Real Madrid. They were like this. But they did fight for Brazil and Portugal beforehand. So it's all good. As soon as he joins the team, everything just disappears. You know that. It's not that deep. It is not that deep. But let's talk about the Florentino Pérez issue, right? The most interesting part of this report is that people inside Real Madrid allegedly had to convince Florentino Pérez. Why would Florentino Pérez need convincing? There's a lot of reasons, right? Reason number one could be Rodri's 30 years old. We know that. Reason number two, Manchester City could still demand a significant transfer fee. And reason number three could be his salary would be substantial. It would be ridiculous. We've seen Alaba earning bigger than anybody really because of how the deal was structured and he came in for free. I know Rodri is not going to be coming in for free, but salary is going to be key, right? It is going to be key. And reason number four, I can give you. Madrid already have Tchouaméni, Valverde, Bellingham, Camavinga, Arda Güler, Bernardo Silva competing where? Competing in the same damn position, in the same midfield position. So Florentino he may be asking whether Madrid should make, a major investment in a player at this stage of his career when the squad already has, several midfield options. But the counter argument to that would be that Madrid are not signing Rodri for a resale value. We're not signing Rodri to sell him in 5 years or to make a profit in 5 years. This would be a signing to win immediately in Madrid. If you don't know, the past 2 seasons, we failed miserably. I know a lot of people blame Kylian Mbappe, but the team really failed miserably. No trophies in the last 2 years. So if we're signing somebody that is going to win right now, that is going to be ready to go. We're not signing somebody for the future, right? And another issue I want to mention is that, of course, his injury history, right? There's a lot of, the physical consideration. Rodri previously suffered a serious ACL injury. So Madrid they have to study every medical details. Last year, he was injured as well for Manchester City. So we have to be careful in terms of that. He has just completed, an outstanding World Cup, I would say. From a footballing perspective, he has demonstrated that he remains capable of, performing at the highest level. But we can never forget about the injuries. So that could definitely happen in terms of him. And also, would Rodri and Tchouaméni play together? That's another topic that I wanted to discuss and bring it into the show, because this is where, a lot of people are debating. Are we going to sell Tchouaméni? Would you sell Tchouaméni if we signed Rodri? You guys let me know in the chat, because I feel like, some people say Rodri's arrival automatically means that Tchouaméni has to leave. I don't really agree with that. I don't think it has to happen immediately. Mourinho could use, Rodri and Tchouaméni together in different away matches, in difficult moments, in difficult Champions League nights. Like I said, those two could be together. Play Barcelona away from home, for example, or Bayern Munich. You could actually line up with Rodri and Tchouaméni. There's no issues with that. There's no issues with that. Mourinho could definitely use both of them. When we play the smaller sides, of course, you're only going to need one of them. You don't need two holding midfielders, really. Against the smaller sides, you could just put Tchouaméni or Rodri and then add Bernardo or Bellingham or Valverde or Aragonés. You can make your selection, but he is definitely going to be an option. I think he will be definitely is going to be an option. But would you rather sign Rodri and keep Tchouaméni, or sign Rodri and sell Tchouaméni to finance the operation? Let me know in the chat. Before I move on to the Manchester United topic about Tchouaméni, I want to just read out quickly what you guys think about the topic we just covered. Toni Kroos. I don't think Rodri is Toni Kroos. Chat, is he Toni Kroos? He's not really Toni Kroos. This could be our midfield, Rodri, Tchouaméni, and Bellingham. Absolutely, that could work. Like I said, against big teams, that could definitely work. CR7 says Tchouaméni plays as a center back. Yeah, as a third center back, it could be used. Sometimes he plays as a center back when we had issues. Perez recently ruled out signing players from the Premier League. Why would he rule out signing players from the Premier League? I mean, the Premier League is the best league in the world. Omar. Rodri, Valverde, Bellingham, that could also work. That could also work. I mean, it is definitely going to give, right, chat? It's definitely going to give Mourinho a lot of options. He's going to have a lot of options. Of course, we struggled to beat Barcelona for the past 2 years. We just could not find the right chemistry. We just could not find the right setup. We could not find the right team, the right midfield against Barcelona. Consistently, we lost against them. As far as I can remember, we only beat them once, which was last year. And they beat us like, I don't know how many times now. In the past 2 years, at least 5-6 times, they have beaten us in the Super Cup, at home, away from home. It has happened consistently, and that needs to change. That definitely needs to change. Perez will start Rodri after he robbed Vinicius Jr. Ballon d'Or. It's okay for Florentino Pérez. People talk about Ballon d'Or issue with Vinicius Jr., but one thing you got to understand is that if Rodri comes to Real Madrid, Florentino Pérez is going to do everything he can so that Rodri can win another Ballon d'Or under Real Madrid, of course. So I don't think Florentino Pérez cares about that. Miss Bet says we don't need Rodri shit. Zayn says Mbappe is the best. That's off topic. Rodri is injury prone, so CSRF. He can come for free because his contract is with Man City. I mean, contract ends in 2027. You're talking about next year. I don't think next year he's going to be at that level. KG, are you going to cover Vinicius Jr.'s surgery story? We're not going to cover that. We got a lot to talk about. But Vinicius Jr. is looking like Jason Derulo, bro. Vinicius Jr. is looking like Jason Derulo. Have y'all seen that picture? Him like this. I'm like, what the hell happened to his chin? His chin is completely different now. I mean, if you think you know Vinicius Jr. is not the same anymore. He is not the same. He doesn't look the same. He does not look the same. He's looking like Jason Derulo right now. But let's move on to the second topic that I want to bring in. Of course, this is it. This is a reliable source, a better source than the previous story that we just covered, right? Manchester United have reportedly asked about Tchouaméni yet again. This is from today. Samuel Luckhurst reports that United have made an inquiry and have not abandoned their interest despite reports concerning a possible contract renewal at Real Madrid. And an inquiry is not an offer. It's not an agreement. But Manchester United are clearly keeping themselves informed about this situation. And you may ask, why Manchester United would want him? United definitely need a natural defensive midfielder. We know that and Tchouaméni could definitely fill that position for Manchester United. And he's in the zone that he's entering in his prime now. 26, 27, Tchouaméni. He has, He's got the physical quality to compete in the Premier League. I don't think that's going to be an issue. He can play as a 6 or as a center back. We discussed that already. And he brings that Champions League mentality and international experience. And he would potentially become, the foundation for Manchester United for sure. But from Manchester United's perspective, the interest makes complete sense. They have signed midfielders before. They have, they still need somebody. United still needs somebody who naturally protects the back four. And Tchouaméni gives that power for Manchester United. Ball recovery, aerial ability, experience at the highest level. He could definitely cover all that. But the biggest question we want to cover here is that should Real Madrid consider selling him? And my answer would be, it depends entirely on the price. You guys let me know what you guys think. Should we sell him? Should we keep him? But Madrid should not push Tchouaméni out. Mourinho reportedly wants to keep him. We've seen a lot of rumors talking about that. He remains an important player. However, if Rodri arrives and Manchester United offers something approaching like 100 M's, for example, Madrid would have to seriously consider the decision. They have to, because you can't simply reject every major offer without considering the squad balance, right? Madrid must also remember that Rodri is 30 years old and Tchouaméni is 26 years old. Selling a younger midfielder to fund the old midfielder could look, absolutely brilliant right now. But in two years, it becomes a big problem. So those are the things that you have to look at. And the Rodri domino effect is really important, because this is why I believe that Rodri and Tchouaméni reports, they cannot be discussed separately. We have to discuss these two, I think, together. United might probably sense that Rodri, he potentially could be leaving Real Madrid. Joining Real Madrid. If that happens, Manchester United know that there's a higher chance, higher possibility that Tchouaméni can go in the other direction. So my position is this, bro, that keep Tchouaméni unless Manchester United make an offer that Madrid, cannot reject. An inquiry is not going to change anything, but 70 M's, obviously we should reject that. But if we're talking about 90 M's, 100 M's, Florentino has to listen, especially if Rodri's operation is real. We definitely have to listen. So question for you guys is, would you accept the 100 M's from Manchester United for Tchouaméni? And would you sell him or keep him? Let me know in the chat. And before we move on to the next topic, I want to quickly read out what you guys think. KG, they put the news about Rodri. We're going to cover that. Yes, there's more news coming up now. We are going to cover that. Valverde, don't fight with him again. So sell him, says Afan. Let's talk about Vinny's face. I already covered that. We're not going to discuss that here. 150. Who's going to pay 150 for Tchouaméni? That's not real. We're talking about Olise money. Nobody's going to pay 150. I think maximum we could get is 100 M's for Tchouaméni. KG, would you sell? That's what I'm saying. If we get Rodri and if we get 100 M's, I think I would sell. I would definitely sell. I would keep Camavinga though. I would bring Rodri in, get 100 M's, use that money to fund for Olise. Do whatever you got to do to sign Olise, to sign another guy, right? If we are going to move the money and apply it somewhere else, apply it to another player, apply that money to sign another position, I'm all for that. But if Florentino Pérez is selling Tchouaméni and putting 100 M's in his pocket and he's not investing that money, what good is it for us? As a fan, that's not good for us. That is just not good for us. So as long as the money is circulating, as long as the money is going to fund another deal, I'm all for it. Tchouaméni has shown weaknesses in that World Cup. We saw what happened to Tchouaméni against Spain. He completely got dominated in the middle of the park. Of course, it wasn't just him. Rabiot played next to him, but they just could not deal with that Spanish midfield. Rodri and Ruiz, they just could not deal with them. And Dani Olmo, they couldn't deal with them. It's not just France, by the way. Argentina found out in the World Cup final. They just could not deal with that midfield. The closest thing that competed with that midfield was Portugal. Vitinha, Neves, and Bruno. So, yes, Tchouaméni has got weaknesses. Yes, if the price is right, I would definitely let him go. And yes, if the money is to fund another deal, that's what I would do. But if we're just saving the money, I'm not selling him. I am not selling him. KG, we would have enough money to buy Olise. Yeah, that's my hope. That's my hope, Cristiano. Look at the Madrid zone. There's more news. We're going to cover the more news. Let me just cover what we planned, and then we're going to take a look at the latest news that is coming in right now. There's a lot of things coming in right now about Rodri. We got to discuss that. We are going to discuss that. The next item I want to bring in is Mourinho, of course, reportedly tells Raúl Asencio that he is not wanted. Thank you so much. I know most of you guys, if you're new, you don't know. But if you've been here before, if you know about this channel, if you've seen us for the past a year or two, I absolutely don't like Raúl Asencio. I think he's a liability. I don't think he's good. When you look at Cubarsí, what he's doing in the World Cup, what he's doing at Barcelona, and you look at Asencio, people telling me he's young. Get out of here. I'm not going to listen to that. I'm not going to listen to that. But look, let me talk about the news. So we're going to talk about Asencio. But Alberto saying that Mourinho has directly informed Raúl Asencio that he does not want him in his squad. The wording is brutal. But one thing about Mourinho is that he normally prefers players to know exactly what they stand for. And multiple reports are saying that Asencio is not part of Mourinho's plan. While, Fabrizio Romano has also indicated, by the way, that there's a possible summer move departure for Raúl Asencio. Obviously, Mourinho doesn't trust him because he's seen what we have seen. This guy's a fraud. Asencio is a fraud. I mean, you might like him because he's young and he's Castilla from Madrid or whatever, but we've added Kanate in that defense. And I don't think he's disciplined. I don't think he's reliable. Asencio needs consistent minutes to develop. Is he going to be one of the best center backs in the future? I don't know. Possibly. But is he one of the best center backs right now? Absolutely not. He's not. A loan could definitely help him out. Maybe loan him out like we did with Nico Paz and Mandem, like we did with Endrick. Loan him out for a year or two in the Premier League and see how he does. If he can improve, then we could definitely bring him back. But for next year, I honestly don't think that we need Asencio, chat. I mean, do you guys agree or no? Asencio have saved Real Madrid many times. He hasn't saved us many times because we ended up not winning anything last year. And so I don't think he has saved us many times. He's had good games, but that doesn't mean he's a good player. I would drop Asencio back to the academy. Says Prav Valverde. Rashida says, I agree. What else? He's still got a great potential, KG. Rajat, that's exactly what I said. We could definitely explore loaning him out for a year or two and then bringing him back. Or getting a buyback clause. You could sell him now, insert a buyback clause, and then you could do that. But for now, I honestly don't think we keep Asencio. Where's he going to start? I mean, Kanate has been signed. Rudiger's there. Militao's going to be fit. Where's he going to play, chat? Where's he going to play? And Madrid is also planning to sign another center back. So where's he going to play? I don't see a position for him. Even last year, he wasn't a starter. So I can't see him staying. I cannot see him staying. And the question is this: would you sell or loan? And like I said, I would prefer to loan him out with a buyback clause, but you guys let me know. There's an emotional angle to it, of course. It's always difficult when an academy player is told he's not part of the plan. But this is Real Madrid. I mean, Mourinho's not returning to make sentimental decisions, right? Every player, every young and experienced player will have to convince him. And I'm not quite sure Asencio fits that. KG, can you watch La Liga on DAZN? No, I don't have DAZN. Dumfries, Trent play in midfield. Possible. But let's stick to Asencio. Asencio, with the right manager, could be the best Real Madrid defender. At least he has passion. Passion alone is not enough, Alex. I mean, it's not enough. It's not enough. We know it's not enough. You need more than passion to play for Real Madrid. Passion alone is not going to get you anywhere. I'm keeping it 100. I'm keeping it 100. But yeah, has Mourinho made the correct decision on Asencio, or is he giving up on him too early? You guys let me know in the comments. But we're going to move on to the next topic. There's a lot of things we have to cover here, to chat. And this is another one. Now we move to another story that affects not only one, but two Real Madrid most talented young attackers, right? Dario AS is reporting that Fulham are already holding conversations with Real Madrid regarding Gonzalo García and Frank Mastantuono. The proposed structure are different. Of course, Fulham reportedly want Gonzalo García permanently. They want him permanently, while they are interested in taking Mastantuono on loan. Yes, that's what's coming up right now. This is just coming in today. The other one says he should go to Manchester United. No, thank you. Big up for the dono. No, thank you at all, man. No, thank you at all. But as AS reported, that Fulham have open talks for both players. Gonzalo's being considered for a permanent transfer, like I said, and Mastantuono would more likely leave temporarily because Madrid want to retain control of him, and Mourinho is expected to evaluate both during this preseason right now before their future is decided. So we got a couple of games that we're going to look into and see what happens in preseason. And it looks like Mourinho is going to decide what he's going to do with both of them. And obviously Fulham will be definitely interested in this, but this is what it talks about for Mastantuono. I mean, I don't know. They want a loan. They want to get a loan. They want to sign him up for a long-term investment. His contract, runs through all the way to 2031. He still has an enormous potential. Have we seen it with, the best of Mastantuono? We haven't seen it yet. We have not seen it yet. So loaning him out might be a good decision, especially if we sign Olise. I think for me, in my opinion, I don't think we should loan out Mastantuono. I think we need to wait and see what happens with Olise. If we're going to get Olise, then it makes sense to loan out Mastantuono because you got Diaz and maybe Bernardo Silva sometimes could play there. You got Arda sometimes could play there. That's not his favorite position, but Rodrigo could definitely play there. We've got enough people, but only if we sign, right? Only if we sign Olise, this makes sense. Otherwise, it doesn't make sense. It really doesn't make sense. It says here, right here, Madrid are reluctant. They believe he has an enormous potential. River Plate and Como has also inquired about the possible loan move. So, yeah, this is the one to watch out for. I don't think we have a complete, a decided moment yet. There's a lot of thoughts, but for me, I would recommend, if we sign Olise, a season-long, loan deal, no purchase options, and he must be getting, a regular playing time. That should be the expectation. And we could possibly, recall him in January or next year. It depends. But that's what I'm looking at for Mastantuono. I don't want to sell him. Before we move on to Gonzalo Garcia, what do you guys think about this? Do you think it's a mistake to bring in all the stars and then that can happen with Mbappe? I'm scared about to have another season without a trophy. That's not going to happen, bro. That is not going to happen. We're going to have a good season next year. Believe me. I would sell Mastantuono. He did absolutely nothing while playing a lot of minutes as Prime Valverde. Let's be real, Prime Valverde. When Mastantuono was playing under Xabi Alonso, he was better, right? He was doing stuff. At least we saw a glimpse of what he could do. But under Arbeloa, we've seen nothing. He barely played, bro. Barely played after that. So Mourinho possibly could get the best out of him. Hopefully he could get the best out of him. He could get the best out of him. That's what I'm hoping for. Gonzalo, we're gonna talk about Gonzalo in a second. I've seen the Garnacho story. I've seen that. yeah, let's move on to the Gonzalo Garcia story. Of course, Gonzalo's situation is slightly different. It is slightly different. One thing you got to understand is that he's 22. He needs to be, a regular first team striker at Madrid. He's competing with Kylian Mbappe and Endrick. Is he going to have a position? Is he going to have a position at Real Madrid? I can't see it. Fulham reportedly wants to buy him permanently. The Madrid, obviously, they've got to protect themselves. If the offer is strong, I would consider it a sell with a buyback clause or selling only, a percentage of his rights. But a striker who performs in the Premier League can rapidly, multiply his market value. So if he goes to the Premier League and bangs in 5 to 10 goals or 15 goals in one season, all of a sudden he becomes a real center forward. You understand what I'm saying? So we need to be careful in this situation. My preference regarding this obviously is, like I said, loan out Mastantuono without a purchase option. But Gonzalo, either keep him as a traditional squad player, because I've seen Mourinho in the past. Mourinho used to have, how many center forward? He used to have, the last time Mourinho was at Real Madrid, he used to have Higuain, Benzema, Cristiano, Di Maria, all these guys at the same time. Ozil. So he used to have 2 center forwards on top of Cristiano. So if you think about it, Mbappe could be like the Cristiano, and then Endrick could be like a Benzema, and Gonzalo Garcia could be like Higuain. You understand where I'm going with this? Do you understand where I'm going with this? And I think Mourinho's trying to do the same thing here. Yes, there's a lot of center forwards option for Real Madrid, and he's not going to get a lot of minutes. But I think Mourinho would prefer to keep him, and especially if he starts hitting the ground running in this preseason, start banging in goals. Because I like Gonzalo Garcia. I prefer Endrick, but Gonzalo Garcia is not the guy to be underestimated. I'm super surprised that Spain didn't take him for the World Cup. I'm super surprised, but I can't complain. They went ahead and won the World Cup, so they can't. You can't say anything about De La Fuente not taking him. But I think Gonzalo Garcia could have a for Real Madrid, even though there's a lot of forwards in the team. But Fulham definitely want him. Arbeloa, of course, if you didn't know, Arbeloa is the manager for Fulham, and he's looking at Madrid players like this because he knows them. He's targeting them. But this is the question for you guys: which player is more likely to become a future Real Madrid starter? Is it Mastantuono? Is it Gonzalo Garcia? You guys let me know in the comments. But before we move on to the latest news that is just coming up right now, I want to just go through some of the comments here. 16 years old, no Champions League for Barcelona versus Real Madrid. Yeah, we know that. AR, what are you saying? Gonzalo Garcia. KG, we need to have 3 center forwards in case somebody gets injured, so he needs to stay. Good point by Alex. I don't understand. Says Vinny, what is it that you don't understand? Keep Gonzalo and use Endrick for a forward. Okay, right wing, that is possible. You could also use Endrick as a right wing. That's also a good point that I didn't talk about. Keep Endrick as well. I would, Cristiano says, I would definitely sell Rodrigo. And so you would keep Gonzalo Garcia and Mastantuono and Endrick, obviously, right? You would definitely keep those guys. Okay. Did I miss any chat? Play Endrick as a right wing. Yes, I discussed that. I just discussed that. It is possible that we could see Endrick being used. I can only see Endrick being used as a right wing if we don't sign Olise. You don't sign Olise, obviously the starting lineup would be Endrick on the right, maybe, and then you would put Mbappe as a center forward and then Vinny on the left. That would be the front 3, really, right? But if we do sign Olise, then everything changes. Endrick becomes a backup for Kylian Mbappe in the center forward position. Yes, some games he could play in the right wing, but he would definitely be a backup. And then what are you going to do with Gonzalo Garcia? That's the biggest question. And We might end up keeping all these guys. I'm really, now that the World Cup is over, thank God the World Cup is over, we could definitely visit this every single day and see how this team is going to move and see how Madrid is planning to move, because that's the biggest point. That's the biggest point. That's the biggest point. Vinny left wing, Mbappe as a center forward, Gonzalo as a striker, and Olise, Rodrigo, Brahim. All these guys can't play at the same time, JB. We know that. We know that. That is not going to happen. But, yo, before we wrap up, before we finalize, there's a couple of things that are just coming in right now. Of course, I want to bring it in. I want to definitely bring it in. It's all about Rodri, chat. It is all about Rodri. Madrid are going for Rodri. He's a top target. I just covered that. They're working on agreement on personal terms. The deal is heating up. I told you guys. I specifically told you guys, right? It's not just one source. I don't just go live based on one source. I have seen this coming. That's why we went live. And a lot of things are coming in now, as you can see it here. And look, I'm excited. I mean, who's this source? 146,000 followers. Is he a reliable source? To be fair, I've never heard of him before. His burger, I've never heard of him before. I have never heard of him before. Another news here, right? From the same person. They met yesterday. What? So Real Madrid and Rodri's agent had secretly met yesterday, and they are offering him. They're offering him a contract until 2030. Wow. And this is the biggest one, of course. This is the biggest one I wanted to talk about. I saw it as soon as I went live. I saw it. I couldn't bring it in. I wanted to cover the story that we had earlier today and then bring this in at the end of the stream. But look, Manchester City's price for Rodri is 100 M's. Real Madrid believe that they can negotiate a cheaper deal. He's not worth 100 M's, chat. Let's be real out here. 100 M's? 100 M's? Get out of here. Get out of here. I swear we're not paying 100 M's for this guy. Who's going to pay 100 M's for this? He's 30 years old. Does he think he's Cristiano? We're paying 100 M's for him. It doesn't make any sense. The most I could spend on Rodri is 60. And this is, I mean, you could argue this is a reliable source, right? L'Equipe is a reliable French magazine, French media outlet, 6.2 million. They usually get their stuff right. So L'Equipe don't have good sources. I think they do. But 100 is just a starting point. Rajat, 100 I think is a starting point. I don't think it's going to be the money that Madrid is going to be paying. That's not going to be the case. That is not because earlier today I did see that Madrid, where is it? Earlier today, I did see here. This is what I saw earlier today. All right. Radora also reporting that Real Madrid value Rodri signing at 60 M. So if it is a 60 M, I'm okay with it. Look, 60 M's, I'm okay with it. But I'm not paying 100 M's for Rodri. No way. That's not going to happen. Prav Valverde says, KG, we are Madrid. We got money. He wouldn't bankrupt us. He wouldn't. But I'm thinking about Olise. Guys. I think we need to sign Olise above anybody. Not Rodri, not anybody. I don't need anybody. All we need is Olise. And Kylian Mbappe knows that. Kylian Mbappe, just like me, knows that. You know how I know? I'll bring it in immediately right here. This is the topic, right? Michael Olise believes that his chances of winning the Champions League would significantly be higher at Real Madrid than Bayern Munich. We need to hit that fire, bro. Olise now pushing for talks with Bayern Munich bosses. He wants to see how the club plans to remain competitive in the Champions League. After these talks, he will decide whether to submit a transfer request or not. This is my focus. You understand? This is my focus. This is why I'm trying to focus. I'm trying to focus on Olise. So if you're telling me, I know this show is not about Olise. We're going to cover Olise maybe tomorrow. But I know the show's not about Olise, but when you're talking about spending 100 M's for Rodri, it really, really doesn't make any sense. We're not going to have enough money to cover Olise's situation. Kylian Mbappe also talked about this, right? He said he has informed Florentino Pérez that he has managed to convince Olise to join Real Madrid. I mean, this thing is heating up. Of course, you might not trust the source. You might say, KG, why are you just reading out Twitters? But these things come for a reason. They always come for a reason. They don't come out of nowhere. And we've seen the connection between Olise and Kylian Mbappe in that World Cup. It was fire. It was absolutely fire. So Mbappe knows that. Olise would be like, he would be like Mastantuono or Di Maria for Cristiano. So that's what Olise would be for Kylian Mbappe. So it is going to be massive. It is going to be absolutely massive if Mbappe somehow convinced Olise, and if Bayern Munich, if he requests a transfer to go out and Bayern Munich accept that, man, that would be massive. That would be massive. But let me go through the comments, and we got to wrap up, chat. We got to wrap up. But let me go back to the Rodri topic, because that's where we are here. That's where we are here. But this is the latest news, chat. The latest news is that they are working on agreement on a personal terms, baby. That's what is happening. Please don't spam, Raúl. Raúl said, you don't need to spam in the chat, bro. I don't want to time you out. Okay. No more spamming. No more spamming. Alex says that KG, if Rodri comes to Real Madrid, Tchouaméni needs to leave because they have the same profile. But Rodri shows up and Tchouaméni only knows how to defend. He doesn't know how to build up play. Exactly what I talked about, Alex. If you were here at the start, that's exactly what I said about Rodri versus Tchouaméni. Am I willing to sell Tchouaméni to get Rodri? I said yes. If the price is right, I said yes. Because I saw Tchouaméni getting exposed in the World Cup. Yes, it's one game, but I've seen it at Real Madrid. Tchouaméni does not know how to control games. He does not know how to control the tempo of the match. He does not know when to start. When to start an attack, when to slow down the team, when to tell the team to push. He doesn't know that. He doesn't control the rhythm of the game. And Tchouaméni is only there. He's sort of like Conte. He's not even like Conte, but he's there to protect the back four. That's it. He can't pass the ball. He can't dribble. He could defend. That's the only thing he does. But Rodri gives you all of that in one package. And that's the difference. That is the difference. Tchouaméni is not a deep line playmaker, but that's where he plays, JB. That's exactly where he plays, though. That's what we've been playing for the past 2 years. For the past 2 years, that's what we've been doing. Just get Olise says precious. We're going to cover the Olise's topic maybe if it heats up tomorrow, but let's focus on Rodri. Rodri is the one picking his nose and eating. Look, I don't give a damn if he eats his shit. I'll be serious with you. Like, I don't care what he does. I don't care what he eats. All I care about what he does on the pitch, right? He could do this and then eat. I don't care, bro. That's not going to stop me. That is not going to stop me from signing him for Real Madrid. We're not trying to kiss him or anything like that, bro. We're trying to get him on the pitch so that he can perform. So whatever he does with his nose, it is not my problem. It is not my problem, bro. It's just reliable, says Ron. Look, I don't know how reliable it is, but we have to cover the story. We have to cover the story. There's multiple sources, not just one source. When there's multiple sources reporting that Rodri is getting closer to Real Madrid, we have to cover it. Of course, we're still waiting for Fabrizio. Let me just quickly see if Fabrizio has said anything, because that's the most reliable source, right? Nobody's better than Fabrizio. We know that, even though he works for, Lamine Yamal and stuff. But the last thing Fabrizio said about Rodri's situation, I'll bring it in the chat so you guys can make up your mind. This is the last thing that he said regarding Rodri. Fabrizio Romano. Okay, this is what he said. Okay, this is the last thing he said. Rodri dreams of Real Madrid, but there's still no green light from Florentino Pérez to process the move. All depends on Real Madrid president, and nothing has changed at this stage. Manchester City new contract proposal remains valid, as Manchester City still hope to get it done. So this is the last thing. So according to Fabrizio, nothing is happening. But according to one of the biggest media outlets for Real Madrid, they're pushing that Mourinho wants Rodri. They're pushing that Florentino Pérez might consider the situation, and they're pushing that there's a price tag for Rodri to come to Real Madrid. And yeah, this is it, chat. This is it. I'm excited. I mean, look, I'm excited regardless of the situation. I'm really, really excited. And finally, before we wrap up, my final position is that Madrid should attempt to sign Rodri, but only under the correct financial conditions. Like I said, do not be absurd and pay 100 M's for 30 years old. That's not what we need. The best he can give us is maybe 1 year or maximum 2. So it doesn't make any sense to me to be spending 100 M's on him. And Madrid definitely need to win now. And Rodri is a guy that we signed to win today. Not tomorrow, not next year, today. You understand? Today. So that's what I want to focus on. That's what I want to focus on. And also the other topics that we covered. What do you guys think about those? Let me know in the comment sections. Would you sell Gonzalo García or loan him out? Would you sell Mastantuono or loan him out? And what are you going to do with Asencio as well? Is he the guy to stay and learn from Rudiger, Militao, and all these guys? Or would you loan him out, or would you sell him? You guys let me know. This is it. I mean, I think we covered everything. But yeah, thank you all so much for watching. As always, I will try to do this every day, okay? We are going to try to do this at the same time at 5 p.m. every single day. So make sure you subscribe to the channel, smash that like. If we hit 100 likes on this stream, we're going to do this every single day, all right? We're going to do this every single day. So make sure you share, like, subscribe, hype. And yeah, thank you all so much for watching. I will see you guys tomorrow at the same time. Hopefully, if we get a breaking news, of course, we're going to drop a video. But if not, I'm going to compress like I just did today. I'm going to compress what just happened the whole day. And we're going to talk about Madrid. And I'm going to give you my opinion. We're going to listen to your opinion as well. But yeah, thank you all so much. Hasta la vista. I'm out. Peace.